They can't. They can try. They can do all their demonic things and rear their ugly heads and try to chop off everyone's knees at the kneecaps and all that sort of stuff. But guess what? What are we going to do? We're going to fight. Fight. For him. Yeah. That's what I wanted to say.
Right.
Did I play? Does it over the top?
I'd like to thank cannabisculture.com as well as www.jackhair.com and Jeannie Hair and Jeannie Hansen for preparing the news at the 420 Lake Newsroom. If it wasn't for www.jackhair.com and Cannabis Culture, I wouldn't have the news that I bring to you every week.
Can we give him a big round? Yeah!
Thank you, Jeannie Hair.
You're emphasizing.
I'd like to give a shout out to Ed and Lori watching in Lucerne. Hi, Ed and Lori. And Ed had a question for whoever is interested in it. And if you're interested later and respond to this, you can go to 420lakenews@gmail.com, and it also shows at the beginning and end of this program. Ed had a question of what happened to Prop 215, the way it was originally written, so patients were able to get affordable medical marijuana. And that's a pretty deep and vast question. I have a few ideas. And one of my ideas was, I think in order for it to be really a non-profit, it would have to be like volunteers that worked
Did you say non-profit?
worked like a day job
Did you say non-profit?
somewhere.
I need to make a profit.
I only make $100,000 a year running this dispensary. That's a compassionate salary. Come on.
Give it up.
So
Give it up, baby. Thank you.
Other than somebody, you know, like working an 8-hour day job and then going to do a dispensary on their own time, or unless they're on disability and they could get enough going with enough people to run a dispensary. Other than that, I can't see how it would be non-profit where somebody could, you know, work a job where the place that's open 10 or 11 hours a day, 7 days a week, and still make a living. It's impossible unless they already got a bunch of money. And I think that the way
I've been
Prop
working 7 days a
215,
week and I'm not making a living.
the way Prop 215 was written, it kind of left those loopholes, and I really see no other solution to it other than that. Do you guys have any ideas with it?
No.
It's such a conundrum.
No.
It's such a conundrum.
I was watching YouTube.
And if you have anybody has any thoughts on this, go to Lake. 420 Lake News Gmail and write me and ask and tell me how we're going to do this, because I have no idea other than volunteers doing it or somebody rich doing it on their own accord. So that's the only thing I can think of. I want to let everyone know that the City Planning Commission met on the 15th in Clear Lake at City Hall to discuss the city ordinance for the 3 dispensaries here in the city of Clear Lake. The Planning Commission heard from the public and a dispensary operator and attorney Ron Green concerning different parts of the ordinance that were in need of change. The council meets again on January 19th, 2010, and I hope everyone joins us. And also January 15th, the Fish and Game is going to be doing their little Reefer Madness Part 2 over at Lakeport at the Board of Supervisors Chambers. So I hope everyone meets for that. They're both in the evening time.
Does that have to do with cannabis or the evil marijuana?
Yes, that's one thing we need to start getting to, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Ed. Marijuana has always been like a slang term, and it's always been associated with something bad with cannabis. And
Terminology actually given to cannabis by Mexicans during Prohibition when it was smuggled across the border.
Right. And medicinal cannabis is the right way to say it, and I'm going to try to start saying that more also.
And there's a difference between cannabis and heroin, too, isn't there?
You need a needle for one, but I'm kind of confused on which. But yeah, there's a slight difference. Heroin's easier to get, though. They won't harass you much, you know.
Yeah,
You
didn't
go
you
get
say
your
It's out there on
methadone.
any street corner.
Didn't you see that happening in our streets here in Clear Lake?
Oh yeah. We're over by the sheriff's office behind Walmart. Someone I know was over there, over by where they have the drunk driving classes and domestic violence classes, and they were sitting in their car, and someone came up and offered them Chiba. They thought the person wanted a cigarette, but after the person said it a couple times, and Chiba's short for heroin, so It's a sad thing that's going on just right here in this town. That was right next to the
Walmart in Clear Lake.
That's right next to the sheriff's station, behind on Dam Road, right next to the sheriff's station. So it was a very odd thing to have happen. What is 420? There's just rumors, myths, a lot of different things. There is one that it said 420 originated from a police code that announces marijuana use is taking place. That's bull. Police dispatch code for smoking pot. The number 420 is not a police radio code for anything, anywhere. Checks of criminal code suggests that the origin is neither California nor federal. For instance, California Penal Code 420 defines misdemeanor the hindrance of use of public lands. Yeah, there are approximately 420 active chemicals in marijuana. That's bull. And cannabis. There are approximately 315 active chemicals in cannabis. The number goes up and down depending on which plant is used. The one that I heard before 420 even existed, I was seeing the Grateful Dead in Palo Alto at the Frost Theater, and this guy said, "Yeah, 420, man. This is around 1989, and I just heard about 420." And he said the kids at this Palo Alto high school used to go across the street where Ron Pigpen McKernan's grave was, that died on 420, and they would get out of high school late because of detention, and it would be around 420 by the time they made it to the graveyard, so they were smoking herb on Ron Pigpen McKernan's grave at 420 on 420. That was the first one I ever heard. Be it rumor or not, that was the first one I heard. And then there was the one where 420 means the time to plant before the summer. People that are planting cannabis outdoors, that on April 20th they put the plants out, which kind of makes sense because people harvest around the Octoberish. And also it's the same day that a lot of people enjoy their medicine, at 420. And one thing I would like to say about this whole 420 thing is TV8, this television station, is under attack right now from the grand jury. And the grand jury is saying that we cannot play certain videos, and the videos that we do get submitted to us, that we can only play once the first time it's submitted, and then 60 days after that, we can play it one more time and then never again. So shows like we used to play, like The Emperor of Hemp, can't play anymore, according to the grand jury.
It almost sounds like Zeke.
So at 420 each day here in Lake County, what I would like you to do is I would like you to turn towards City Hall. Wherever you're at in Lake County, I want you to turn towards City Hall, and I want you to clap.
I'm in City Hall.
And at 420, people clap. And everybody's going to do this that supports TV8, and we're going to be able to hear you across the lake and from wherever you are in Clear Lake,
Definitely.
the city, Lakeport, Kelseyville. We're going to hear you. The city supervisor is going to hear you. The board of supervisors is going to hear you, and as well as the people that circumvented this brutal attack through the grand jury. They will hear us also, because the fight has only just begun.
That's right. As far as your 420 goes, cannabis users are way too limited.
Yeah, tell them about your 215 thing that you had.
Well, 215 at 215. That came from a farm we were working out the Patients Alliance. We were digging ditches one day to bury our fence line, and I was getting tired. Damn, what time is it? We said 215. 215 at 215, time to smoke. But 420, why limit yourself, folks?
Don't.
Cannabis is good all day long.
Yeah. It's not just 420. It could be 810.
That's right. 840.
Okay, so now this is going to be the 810 Lake News. Now, folks, it's the 420 Lake News.
815. You can watch us anytime you want.
Come on.
And I'd like to introduce Curtis Kind Bud Nelson back to the show. And we have some information for you regarding the war on drugs, Barack Obama, and that one is yours. And we also have some information about a group that's launched this drive to tax and regulate marijuana in Nevada. We're going to start with Ed Disney, who's going to read you some news.
I'm going to try. I don't read too good.
Let me know.
The war on drugs continues 4 decades after President Richard Nixon commenced hostilities. President